In September of 2015, 193 member states of the United Nations adopted the Sustainable Development Goals, the 17 goals, the more than 160 targets, and now 230 indicators to measure those targets. What we learned from the previous era of the MDGs, that one of the major gaps in achieving the great goals that we decide as a global community, first the MDGs and now the SDGs, is data. Data is not effectively utilized for better decision making. It is not available to citizens to empower them to make better decisions about their lives and hold governments accountable and shape public policies. And it's not available to businesses, the private sector, research institutions to drive innovation, entrepreneurship for the 21st century. The world has completely changed in that 15 years between the MDGs and the Sustainable Development Goals, the global goals. We have technologies, we have access to information like in an unprecedented way. The other thing we learned from the MDG period that the architects of the SDGs was that these development goals cannot be achieved from the top down. They have to be developed and built and implemented and realized from the bottom up. They have to be led by countries, by the stakeholders in those countries, citizens, policymakers, businesses, and all the way from elderly to youth. In order to help that process, to connect data to the SDGs and to ensure that the process is legitimately and appropriately rooted in the contexts in which they should be realized. The partnership is committed to working with our partners all over the world at the national and subnational levels. One way we're trying to do this is through developing and supporting country data roadmaps for sustainable development goals. So the partnership is committed to supporting our partners in national and subnational levels to advance their agendas that are contextually appropriate and based on their own needs and goals and capacities. However, there is a tremendous amount of learning and innovation and good practices that is available all around the world. Indeed, there's a bit of a market failure. Many people around the world, policymakers, citizens, businesses, academic institutions, data communities are searching for solutions in one part of the globe that are available in another part of the globe. That is why we need the global partnership, to improve those markets, to make sure that those needs and demands find the information, the tools, the support, the resources they need, and where they don't exist, for the partnership to help create new innovations, resource them, bringing together the collaborations. So the toolbox allows to bring together those best practices, tools, resources in an open, collaborative, iterative way so that countries at the subnational and national level, through multi-stakeholder processes, can access them when they need them. We want to make it much more easy and efficient and accessible for all countries and all their stakeholders within those countries to get the best possible resources that will help them chart their own pathways to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. That's why the toolbox is so important. It's not a one-stop shop in the sense of there's only one pathway. Each country can adapt and adopt the toolbox to its own circumstances. And as countries, subnational and national entities decide there's new needs, the partnership will work hard and collaborate and innovate to bring those resources available. So this is why it's a partnership. It's a partnership between country-led processes and the global community from the local to the international level that might have resources to help those societies advance their sustainable development agenda. And it's the trust that we will build will allow unprecedented amounts of new ideas, new opportunities, new innovations. And so we're very excited about the toolbox as one of the ways the partnership can contribute to harnessing the data revolution to achieve sustainable development. One of the early priorities and contributions of the global partnership is to develop with our partners all over the world a toolbox that will support country-led efforts at the national and subnational level to harness the data revolution and achieve sustainable development. Some key aspects of the data revolution that we're all learning about and increasingly implementing in all of our lives is that citizens around the world want more data to make decisions about their lives. How do they get that data? One of the great ways that that's happening is through opening of government data that historically existed and not been made public available. In addition to that, there's an immense amount of new types of data that have become available. Earth observation data through satellites that circumnavigate the globe and provide us images of forests, waters, and everything we might be interested on the planet. Cell phone data, data that comes through ordinary transactions that we do every day using new technologies. All these types of data, sometimes called big data, geospatial data, Earth observation data, and increasingly the data that citizens themselves generate through citizen-generated data. This is all part of what is starting to be understood as the data revolution. What we want to make sure is that the data revolution is not just a set of data that becomes part of an unconnected ecosystem, but this data becomes live and interconnected and accessible to all to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. This new world of data also poses a range of challenges. How do we protect the privacy of citizens around the world? How do we ensure that governments also, where they have legitimate national security or other public interests that they need to protect, that data is understood and protected? How do we ensure that when businesses are increasingly sharing their data, that they can continue to ensure that their data and for commercial purposes, they're not undermining their own place in the marketplace? There are a whole range of challenges in this new wonderful world of the data revolution that the partnership hopes to help think about, build trust around, and develop new ways of addressing. Some of the challenges that exist in the world of data that the partnership and all of us have encountered include privacy concerns, national security concerns, commercial concerns by private sector companies. The partnership in developing its toolbox is increasingly working with all stakeholders to address these concerns so that they can be most useful for the countries around the world to achieve sustainable development.